Since the advent of dancehall music, feuding has been a part of its fabric thanks to the ultra competitiveness and audaciousness in a bid to be regarded as a mainstream star. Though it would be great if everyone got along, feuding admittedly has added the extra bit of hype and personality that has made it an increasingly popular genre as the years have passed by. Nowadays, feuds, and I emphasize that with quotes, are about as interesting as watching paint dry. But during years gone by, oh man, were there some eye-catching beefs, some of which led to the tastiest content dancehall music has seen yet. This is Mark from OriJinal Jamaican, and today we explore the battles that help shape dancehall music, giving us headlines and memories, throwing words where we catch on to the animosity, and share drama expressed in songs between artists, pitting factions and fans against each other. Honorable mentions go to Beenie Man versus Capleton and Vybz Kartel versus Spragga Benz, who low-key was Addy's toughest opponent. Go listen to Spragga's songs and you know. Now, on to our top 10. Number 10, Bounty Killer vs. Sizzla. We appropriately start this list with the man known universally as the Warlord. Nobody cooks beef more well done than Mr. Cross, Hungry, Miserable himself, and it often doesn't take him much to get in the mood to live up to his killer moniker. What got Rodney Price upset in this case though was that his foe in question took a lyric-y song out of context. According to Killer, the whole thing between himself and Sizzla, who were friends at the time, started after a lyric in Can't Believe My Eyes in which he called out some Rastafarians. When the force had come out, the brother started to call a 60 sound. One boy that's a Rasta pussy hole and put Rasta on the posters. Sizzla me never say you a pussy hole. Say how you just jump up and put down the suit that coat and say you are the Rasta way a pussy hole. You don't know who me come across in life. Anyway. Now obviously he wasn't generalizing and wasn't being direct with his barbs, but Sizzla quickly took offense to it and things kicked off from there. The peak of discontent was evident at Champion in Action in the year 2000, when the two were on stage alongside Beenie Man and Junior Reid. Near the end of Sizzla's performance, he did a freestyle which seemed to be a retort at Beenie, and the Warlord lost it, ranting at Sizzla as he left the stage, and the bad feelings carried over for years. So what's your thing? When them gun your squeeze, you better watch your speech. Cause you with every G's, I'm the well of some read. In a war like this, you never know. Make no mistake, even though Sizzla is more known for his conscious music, Dada can be just as abrasive, lyrical and hard-hitting on a dancehall song as anyone you can name and can hold his own with the best of them. We never got a clash between these two, with some accusing Bounty of being afraid to take on Sizzla in a battle, including Spice, which Bounty refuted. But thankfully, the bad feelings were cast aside, with the two performing together on multiple occasions and praising each other's careers. This was a typical case of a misunderstanding causing two artists on good terms to go at each other for no real reason other than pride. Number 9, Lady Saw and Spice vs. Macka Diamond. There were quite a few beefs to choose from among the top divas in the industry. Being dancehall's leading female and undisputed queen for 2 decades, Lady Saw had her share of them, including fellow heavyweights such as Tifa, Tanya Stevens, and, wouldn't you know it, Spice. But it was her beef with another well-respected dancehall veteran, Macka Diamond aka Lady Mackerel, that got the most personal, with things heating up in 2013 as they were enjoying the successes of Heels On and Die Die respectively. There were a slew of chippy Twitter exchanges with each accusing the other of attention seeking among other things, a few diss tracks, and most notably, their clash at Stig 30 in 2013. I really hesitate to call that a clash. It was more of a high-profile shouting match with Saw accusing Macka of selling herself to other artists and while abroad to get exposure, while Macka simply couldn't keep up. Saw decimated Macka lyrically and personally to the point Macka would die trying, but afterwards insisted she wasn't proud of herself for her actions, and this played a factor in her finally listening to her heart and giving her life to God in 2015. That though was child's play compared to Macka's beef with another dancehall vet, Spice. During a 2012 interview On Stage, Spice detailed a fight the two had as far back as 2006, in which she claimed that she, quote, boxed her down, juke out her eye, and nearly take the eye out her head. The two have released a slew of diss tracks over the years and have constantly blasted each other in interviews. The two are supposed to settle their gross at Sting 2012, but Macka, who dissed Spice the night before at GT Taylor's Christmas show, no-showed, claiming she was not paid to clash. The beef simmered for a while, was slightly revived in the summer of 2016 when Macka Diamond accused Spice of acting like no other female in dancehall existed, and it's pretty much died down ever since that. Number 8. Aidonia versus Busy Signal. This feud between two of dancehall's top guns could have ended much sooner and way more tragically if the latter had his way. During an incident at Mavado's birthday party in 2006, when it was clear tensions in the alliance were brewing as Vybz Kartel was pretty much on the way out by this point, Busy Signal approached Aidonia and his entourage with a knife during Mavado's set, causing a big fight on stage and all sorts of mayhem afterwards. Aidonia, who was a collaborator with the Alliance but also a friend to Kartel at the time, flipped out completely. Then Mavado and Bounty Killer got angry, death threats were made, and the crowd dispersed fearing the worst. The beef, according to Aidonia, was started long before this incident though by fellow DJ Ninja Kid, as he argued Busy was the more promising of the two at that time. Busy dismissed this, essentially saying Aidonia thought he was bigger than he actually was during an interview on Lyric DVD with Chronicle the Beat. As the tension escalated, Aidonia took the war to wax with the hard-hitting Busy Tone and others, with a few retorts from the turf president. The bad feelings continued until the two DJs smoothed things out with a giant freestyle alongside Conscience in 2015 at a Trinidad radio station, and things have been pretty much cool since then. Number 7. Beenie Man vs Mavado. This feud between two of dancehall's heavyweights is entrenched by deep-rooted feelings dating back to a tragic incident in 2006. In October of that year, Beenie's brother, Brian, who introduced the two men, was gunned down by unknown assailants, a case that's still unresolved to this day. Soon after Brian's death, Mavado released the song How High, containing a controversial reference to Baby Brian, which included the lyric, Make him mother cry cause him die by my hand. This incensed Beenie and led him to believe the Gully God may have had a hand in Smith's demise. Bounty Killer later insisted the song was recorded long before the murder and that the lyric in question was not a reference to it in any way, while Mavado vehemently denied any links to the incident. Beenie responded with several diss songs, while Mavado called out Beenie in songs such as Chat Too Much and Songwriter. There have been a few jabs back and forth since then, but there was a flare-up when Mavado did a song called Money Are The Right Thing in 2015, when he said, Better you cool like the duck and simmer. Beenie then stated in separate interviews that he felt offended because Mavado insinuated his career is in decline, and that while he holds no animosity towards Mavado, he will always see his brother when he looks at him, given his brother was the one who made him know who Mavado was to begin with. Mavado also insisted there's nothing going on between himself and Beenie, but given the layers of this feud, it's unknown whether these two will ever be on friendly terms. For 6, Vybz Kartel and Bounty Killer versus Ninja Man. If there is one man in dancehall that Bounty Killer truly respects more than anyone else, it's Ninja Man. An idol who supported and advised him since his early days in the business, the Don Gargan was like a father figure to Bounty, someone who he would respect and defend to no end. However, there'd be times when the dancehall father and son would have a bit of a family fight, throwing jabs with each other, jabs which had a bit more power attached to them following Sting 2003. Ninja was throwing a few Barb's Alliance his way that year, and Bounty's then highly touted protege Vybz Kartel was ready to step into battle to defend the Warlord's honor. At the clash itself, Ninja, decked out in a graduation outfit, looked like he was ready to school his young compatriot, but having performed together numerous times and spoken often about the respect for one another and how each has impacted the industry. Number 5, Bounty Killer vs Merciless. One of the most personal and longest lasting feuds on this list, Bounty Killer's issues with Merciless date back to the mid-90s when Merciless debuted and noticeably had a sound that sounded similar to Killer. Initially, Merciless hailed Bounty as someone he looked up to, and the two even performed together on and off over the years. But relations between the two slowly deteriorated after allegations Merciless stole Bounty's melodies, and really escalated when he recorded the song Mr. Houdini, which Bounty took as containing subliminal disses. Soon thereafter, the lyrical war was ignited and appeared to be coming to a head at Sting 97, when it was thought Bounty and Merciless would clash. But when Bounty tried to enter the stage, he was cordoned off by police and show organizers who said that they were not paid for a clash. When Bounty finally reached the stage, Merciless was long gone, bringing an anticlimax to the anticipated showdown. Peace was restored a year later, with the two having a friendly lyrical clash at Merciless's birthday party. But the two butted heads again at Sting 2000, where Merciless lyrically eviscerated Bounty, Beenie Man, and Ninja Man in one of the best clash performances of all time. The following year, Beenie got the upper hand on the Warhead at Sting 2001, another clash that involved Ninja Man. The two clashed many more times over the next 3 years and on and off for the rest of the decade, but have not really crossed paths since. Number 4, Shabba Ranks vs Ninja Man. The Don Gargan has had his share of wars in his 3 decades in the industry, from Bounty to Kartel, as we mentioned before, to countless others. But the one that seemingly cut the deepest was Ninja's feud with one-time protege Shabba Ranks, who he helped bring to the masses. Once Shabba started to achieve international success, tension between the two started to bubble. The two dancehall titans clashed at Sting 90, where Ninja acquired his Hermit Barbarian license for kill and slaughtered his quote-unquote son on stage. Though they have the utmost respect for each other, Shabba has long claimed that Ninja Man tried to stop his progress once he gained international stardom, and that Ninja stole bits of Caputan's style. Then, in August 2016, a video of Ninja Man emerged blasting Shabba, insisting that Shabba has been ungrateful, denied the Caputan accusations, and said the two-time Grammy winner owed his career to him. He also claimed he didn't want to kill Shabba at Sting, but felt he had to after Shabba said Ninja bow during his initial salvo. Despite the lingering issues between them, the respect both artists have for one another seems to have prevented them from triggering an all-out war. We hope at some point these greats can come together for the good of the genre, though Ninja's current legal woes, serving a life sentence on a murder conviction, may well prevent that from happening. Number 3, Bounty Killer vs Vybz Kartel. One of the most personal and hardest hitting of feuds has to be Bounty's feud with his most talented protege, Vybz Kartel. Since being introduced by Killer on stage for the first time in 2000, Kartel was perceived as Bounty's heir, making just as quick an impact on the dancehall scene as Bounty did in the 90s with hits like Sweet to the Belly, So Me I Say, Bust It Off, Picture This, and so many others. The Alliance owned dancehall by this point, and as long as the two were in harmony, nothing could stop them. But by 2005-2006, things soured. One of the triggers which led to this feud took place when Vybz Kartel collaborated with The Angel, who was married at the time to Beenie Man, who Bounty Killer was feuding with at the time, and who also happened to be Bounty's ex-girlfriend. When Kartel began engaging in his high-profile feud with Mavado, lyrical shot after lyrical shot was fired by the teacher at his former tutor, while claiming in interviews that he wrote a litany of songs for Killer during his time with the Alliance. Bounty, meanwhile, accused Kartel of being ungrateful and seemed willing to kill the career of the man who he birthed musically. The two exchanged strong disses against each other in 2009, from the petty to the personal, and it was thought by most in dancehall circles that a father-son clash was certainly going to happen at Sting, with the undercurrents of the Mavado Kartel feud still lingering. However, after Mavado and Kartel publicly settled their feud in December of that year at the behest of the government, the clash never happened and Sting went on without fuss. Fast forward to the early 2010s, Bounty became very vocal about Kartel's bleaching and alleged demonic practices, while Kartel claimed that Bounty was past his prime and not worth his time. Bounty later claimed in an onstage interview that his feelings towards his ex-protege came from a place of hurt rather than hatred, due to being upset about Kartel's departure from the group. Kartel's 2014 murder conviction didn't help any chances of reconciliation, or so it seemed anyway, But it appears as if the two have finally come to an understanding, with both sides hailing each other, and as recently as March of this year, Kartel wrote a lengthy Instagram post praising Bounty for taking a chance on him and paying homage to his legendary career. A classy move. Number 2, Bounty Killer vs Beenie Man. It's December 1993, Jam World in Portmore, the setting for arguably one of the greatest clashes in Sting history between the two hottest DJs in the game, Bounty Killer and Beenie Man. This feud was based strictly on one DJ trying to prove to another who was better, and that night, Bounty came out on top lyrically, but both artists raised their profiles and earned universal respect for their crafts. This battle has been on again, off again, on again, and off again ever since, flaring up again in the early 2000s when Bounty slaughtered Beenie at Follow the Arrow 2002. This incident at Follow the Arrow was less of a clash and more of a trap set by Bounty Killer to totally embarrass Beenie Man in front of a crowd that was absolutely one-sided towards the Warlord. The two then recorded stinging disses on the legendary martial arts rhythm amongst other rhythms. It then really got personal after Beenie dated and went on to marry fellow recording artist The Angel, who happened to be Bounty's ex-girlfriend as I mentioned earlier. These songs such as Bulletproof Skin and Bulletproof Vest were exchanged, and the two would continue to trade insults throughout the rest of the 2000s. Seemingly the two put aside their differences after performing on stage together in 2010 and 2011, but by the spring of 2011, the two were at it again and tension escalated after Beenie and the Angel announced their divorce, with Bounty claiming that the two never truly loved each other. The two were at it again in 2012 when Beenie Man apparently tried to make a truce with the LGBT community after gay rights groups protested the shows for years due to violent lyrics against homosexuals. Bounty chastised them, leading to more words being exchanged. But fast forward to today, and the two are very much on the best of terms. These two have long been dancehall's ultimate frenemies. Frenemies who, despite their differences, always had the utmost respect for one another, having taken the industry to unprecedented heights at their peak through competition and each man's desire to be the greatest in the genre. Their versus battle just last week showed that understanding and competitiveness all in one, with some great meme-worthy content and fantastic unity to boot. And number 1, Vybz Kartel versus Mavado. The most intense, most captivating, and most personal feud of them all. Two of Bounty Killer's legendary musical sons fighting for dancehall supremacy. The Gaza Gully feud became so intense that it required two government interventions, triggered several arrests, and became the hottest topic in media and pop culture at large for over 3 years. Kartel and Mavado were friends and alliance teammates but fell out badly when Kartel left the supergroup and started a war which had no limits to how nasty things could get. The quality of these songs in this feud are way too long to list, with some of them being catalysts in the Broadcasting Commission's strict regulations against the playing of gun lyrics on radio to this day. Those songs, though, gave us 2 to 3 years of peak level content rooted in competition and hatred. While many find the 90s to be when dancehall was truly at its greatest, this feud made dancehall in the late 90s a very hot product, shining lights on it for the right and sometimes wrong reasons. A much anticipated clash between the two at Sting 2008, a clash a friend of mine and I stayed up all night for, lived up to the billing, though a little more gimmicky than great clashes in the events past, like our Ninja Man and Supercat, for example. Though most agreed that Kartel won the clash and was the last man standing, this was not enough to settle the arguments, and the two seemed to be on a crash course to a rematch in 2009, which was entrenched in the Bounty and Kartel war we were talking about earlier. However, the second government intervention I mentioned already took place 3 weeks before Sting 2009, and a peace concert in West Kingston shortly thereafter ended the feud once and for all, or not. There have been some flare-ups in recent years with Mavado releasing Mr. Death, which mocked Kartel's current legal woes, and the two even came to blows on Instagram this year, with Mavado accusing Kartel of trying to intimidate his son. The Gully Gaza era was the peak period of dancehall music in this century as fan interest and scrutiny was at an all-time high, and attracted unprecedented media attention worldwide, cementing their legendary statuses along the way and sparking memories about an era that many still wish could be replicated. And that's our list. What did you think? Did you agree with our number one? Which feuds did you think belonged on the list? And let us know in the comments below. I'm Mark from OriJinal Jamaican. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, OriJinal Jamaican. Follow us on at OriJinalJA on Instagram and follow our main page at 876411 as well as the website 876411.com. And do not forget to purchase Original Jamaican clothing on Teespring. I'll see you soon.